I feel so much happy that people who didn't bother about politics are now understanding what role everyone should play to bring sanity in our political arena. I saw a video of Cindy's husband talking about politics and the situation we are in right now, and I was very happy. Ever since Bobi Wine entered the politics of this nation, we've seen very many people coming on board from entertainment, from movies, young people, which was not necessarily the case. In fact, I keep on telling people that if this thing had happened maybe 20 years ago, we wouldn't have been in this conundrum. So let me first play with the tape of Cindy's husband as he was speaking about politics. Here's the tape.
Oh, Uganda, may God uphold thee. My fellow Ugandans, we gather today not in fear but in faith, not in silence but in courage. For the time has come to remind ourselves, our leaders, and the world that the people belong to God, not to corrupt tyrants. As a Christian, I'll partake from the Bible. The Bible declares, woe to those who decree unrighteous decrees. That's Isaiah 10:1. When rulers pass wicked laws, when they rob the poor and trample justice, they stand condemned, not by us, but by God himself. No throne, no office, no title can excuse corruption and oppression. Therefore, we are not a people called to bow down to tyranny. We are called, like the apostles, to declare, we ought to obey God rather than men. Remember that in Acts 5:29? Government is ordained to serve as God's minister for good. But when they become a weapon of oppression, it has betrayed its purpose. Loyalty to truth is higher than loyalty to unjust rulers. Remember that. For example, remember Moses, who confronted the Pharaoh with the cry, "Let my people go," in Exodus 5:1? Remember Daniel, who defied the decrees of kings to remain faithful? Do you remember the midwives of Egypt who stood against the murder of innocent children and were blessed by God in Exodus 1:17? These were not passive believers. They were active resistors of injustice. Now, Proverbs tells us, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked rule, the people groan. That is Proverbs 29:2. My fellow countrymen and friends, we are groaning. The weight of corruption, injustice, and arrogance presses down upon us. But that groan is not the sound of defeat. It is the roar of a people about to rise. The fight is not violent. It is not lawless. It is the fight of courage, truth, unity. The apostles remind us, stand fast in the liberty by which Christ has made us free, in Galatians 5:1. Freedom is not the gift of governments. No, it is the mandate of God. To surrender without resistance is to dishonor the blood of the martyrs, the sweat of our forefathers, and the very cross of Christ, which broke the chains of bondage once and for all. We cannot be bound by tyranny. We must therefore rise and speak when they demand our silence. Rise to vote when they diminish our voice. Rise to hold leaders accountable when they betray their authority. Rise not in hatred, but in holy determination. For where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. That's what Paul declares in 2 Corinthians 3:17. So, I say to you, my fellow countrymen, stand strong, fear no tyrant. Break the yokes of oppression. Let us declare with one voice that this nation was not created for a few who lust after power, but for all who walk humbly under the sovereignty of God. That's why it is said, for God and my country, as our motto. The time for silence has ended. The time for action is now. And with God as our defender, no tyrant shall prevail. I therefore say, this is a protest vote. Come out in large numbers. Cast your vote. Defend your vote. A new Uganda is possible. Let us embrace it. One man at a time, one woman at a time. United we stand, and we can redeem Uganda, bring it back to God, as our motto says, for God and my country.
So that is Cindy's husband. I was happy when I saw this. I don't know if it was a poem, but it was one of the kind. I normally tell people that everyone has a duty to make our country better. Everyone has a duty to make a small contribution. It can be a poem, it can be over speaking every day like me, it can be engaging in politics, it can be supporting others, but you have a duty. Countries are built by actions. They're not built by lying in your bed and lamenting. Worlds are moved by those who do something for them, for their country. The countries we see, we look up to, they are built by the grandparents. They stood up when the country needed them to make policies, to create good leaders, to chase away tyrants. The more we keep quiet and sleep under our duvet, we are just burying ourselves, and only ourselves, but we are also burying our children and the children of our children. I keep on telling people that nations are built because of actions. They are not built because of lamenting and crying. Ugandans should wake up and understand where we are going. At least history shows us where I come from. Our biggest problem is leaders who overstay in power. Even the sitting president right now, General MUSEVENI, knew the problem. He came out to say one time that the problem of African leaders is with those who overstay in power, and he has overstayed for 40 years. So it means that he knows the problem, but he was not able to rectify it. Countries like Tanzania, Tanzania still has some problem with democracy, but they mastered transition. Their leader, Julius Nyerere, who got the country from independence, reached a time and he gave away power to the Chama cha Mapinduzi. Why do you think that General MUSEVENI cannot do so? And I keep on telling people that I even fear when I speak about this. General MUSEVENI is 82. He has a grip on the country. Okay? I mean, I may live in this country for the next 50 years because I'm still young. That doesn't mean that I cannot die tomorrow, but I can live for 50 years. You know, MUSEVENI cannot, even when God blesses him a lot, I don't think that he can live for more 30 years. I don't think so. And if he says like this, he would want to go with a country, which is unfortunate. Ugandans must wake up to smell the coffee of where we are going. Of course, as one and remain yours truly, Mr. Makindi. Kavyesu Iman Mawagari, the next MP for Makindi East constituency. I'll see.